Going to do a little Obama stuff today. We haven't talked to you since the election.
Yeah, but quite frankly, before you go, I'd just like to say,
Yep.
Everywhere in the streets, out there asking me with serious concern, is Anthony?
All right.
Is with disappointment and pain, with pain and suffering in their heart, and it's
he's really bothered.
It's quite sad. He sounds like a raving lunatic.
I wish he was here today.
A raving.
Because between you and him, it'll be some great stuff.
And I feel bad. Because people are, Patrice, is Anthony? Like, almost like, I know that radio is radio and it's entertainment and, boy, you got to push buttons, but it's almost like, dude, it's feeling real.
Yeah.
And I say it is. And then I walk away. He's a dirty racist.
Anthony's just scared.
Of what? But I just want to let you, that little part is that it's really.
I've gotten the same thing actually on the street. So, but
is everything okay?
He's yeah.
And I go ultimately.
This one bothered him a little bit.
Oh, it's
a bit bothered.
It's an irrational fear.
I have a little bit of. I have some. There's sometimes I just want to call in the morning, but I don't want to step over that. I just want. I listen, but those phone things, I just want to look him in his eyes.
Yeah. And
embrace the energy of what is in his eyes when he's talking. I just want to see it before I really know. On the radio, he sounds like a complete ass. A complete ass, because I know how smart he is, and I know
he's
unraveling
a little bit.
He's unraveling. This is, but I.
We'll get your thoughts on the whole thing after the break.
Okay.
And maybe we can wake up Anthony, or maybe didn't go to bed yet. We'll get him before he goes to bed.
I'm sure they was hunting. They caught some homeless black man somewhere, and his family was hunting him down last night in the woods. I'm pretty sure.
So we got Patrice O'Neill. It's pro-Obama Day, finally.
Yes.
We get a word in today because Anthony is out. He'll be back tomorrow. He was celebrating his mommy's 25th anniversary.
Yep, that's what he said.
With Baltimore Sale.
See if there's any missing homeless black men.
So a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, get Patrice. We get to get the other side of the story. With this Obama being
why he's talking.
President-elect. Well, you could call it any time you want. You got that.
God damn.
You got that power. You should have called in when he was ranting and raving.
I'm just taking it in just to see what his stance was. Beyond the anger, ultimately, it's nothing new to me. Something new to a lot of people, not to me. Not what he's saying, but just the attitude. I already know. White people are fake.
I'm
not Anthony.
I'm happy Obama's going to be the next president. Jimmy's very happy.
I'm happy. I wanted him to win.
Well,
believe me, I'd tell you if I didn't.
Your mind is different, though. You know, Anthony still, like I said, he still wants to attach himself. It's almost like that keeping it real thing. Anthony still wants to attach himself to the local schlub whose hands are busted up and the garbage men and he's not that guy anymore. He wants to be that, but he's a millionaire and he's thinking. There's no way he can think. See, if it was about money, he wouldn't be that emotional. Money doesn't make you scream and holler about taxes and stuff. There's too many ways for people with money to hide money and do goofy things. This is emotional, and his emotion is touching dumb white people. That's what bothers me about it. It's just touching white people who aren't smart enough to know that the president can really do nothing to affect just one group. You know, it is. You have to. It's very. Who affects is policies, law policies. You know, police can affect one group. Putting your hands on somebody. It's white cops. What are you going to do? Change the infrastructure of what racism is now? See, racism used to be. It used to be legislation wise. You was able to be racist. See, here's the fear that Anthony has, and I heard it a couple of times with the uppity thing. Is that here's some white people, I'm gonna think as a white guy, and what would make me mad. You've never, as a white person, had to ever answer in this country to a black guy on any way. It's almost like having a dog or a kid. Whatever your way of dealing with those people, your dog or dealing with that, you know, is crate training better than rolling up a newspaper and hit him in the face. Some people roll a newspaper up, hit him in the face. Some people crate train their dog. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the dog doesn't get a choice. You're ultimately deciding whether that's the right way to do it or not. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So for this country, white people, when I say white, it's institutional white. It's not just, I don't look at any white dude particularly as my oppressor. It's this country. And white people just don't want to see, like even I heard a story the other day. I was listening to the replay coming over. The thing where he's upset is that there's some black people that all they got is to be proud of any black person that makes it through a system that they think has been holding them down. That was the OJ verdict. The OJ verdict had nothing to do with OJ. It was just, oh man, he beat that system. He was a black dude that had the resources to beat that. Woo! That was it. That's all it was. But white people don't want to see that happen. And ultimately, here's what I say about the race part. The thing is, this is the only people in this country who are defined by color is white and black. So, really, Obama is half African, who black people don't like, half white, who black people don't like. He doesn't have that generation of institutionalized anger, right? He had to be that special dude to win this. But the fact that his skin is what it is makes it the problem it is.
But it's also how he identifies himself. And one thing just to say, because you've touched on the race, it's that it's not just dumb white people. It's like, it's not just a matter of thinking like, oh my God, all black people are going to run the country. It's the fear that's happening with a lot of people. It's this irrational thing where it's a black face in a typically white office. And it's like, as irrational, like, you know, they said a lot of black people are unhappy and can be disappointed because it's the first one. A lot of white people that are really disappointed and frightened are going to realize, oh, what was I worried about? It's working that way both ways. Like, a lot of black people are too excited because they think something is going to happen different that really isn't. And a lot of white people are depressed because they think something
But those
different's gonna
people
happen
are
that
in the
isn't.
same category. This is what I'm saying about how we all think. See, I'm not eliminating black people from the problem either. Because a lot of black people think that the black president is going to do something black for them. I've heard some of the goofy things, but those goofy black people are just as stupid as goofy white people who think that this is going to all this is really what this is to me. It just gives me the opportunity because I want the equality to me is when a black person, a mediocre black person, can be put into a spectacular position. Obama had to be almost Messiah-like, the lore of this guy. I want to see Arnold Schwarzenegger is the governor of California. I'm just looking at his face. Mm-hmm. He is mediocre from head to toe. The spectacular thing that he is he was a spectacular weightlifter. He's not a spectacular guy. He's not a spectacular leader. His movies weren't spectacular. They were great in terms of entertainment, but he's really a mediocre guy. It's just like a black quarterback. Right now, there's enough black quarterbacks for me to go, please fire him. Mm-hmm. There's enough mediocre black coaches to go, please fire him. The coach from Pittsburgh is a spectacular young black coach, but Herm Edwards has to go. Removed from football in terms of head coaching.
What has he done, really?
Mediocre.
What is Herman?
Doesn't know. Romeo Crennel from Cleveland got to go. But that's what I want, is that the next black president can't be
But if they were the
all
only,
things.
Hold on, but if they were the only black coaches, then you wouldn't say they have to go?
Exactly.
That's where it
if
gets
it was
weird
just
for me.
one and that was it,
Yeah.
then I'd be like, hey, he got to stay. Because there's not any. But my thing is, it's all a symbol for me. Because I knew what I was watching the election with my girl. My girl got a white mama. And she stands up and she goes, yes, 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 right? And I'm like, wow, all right. And she's like, yeah, call me black now. I go, excuse me? Call me black. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You know, my girl's half black, half white. You know how half black, half white girls look. You know, got some white things and some black things. Mm-hmm. Black lips, white hair. You know? So she's like, yeah, if you're going to call him black, you call me black. I go, what? You look like Sarah Palin, right? So I'm joking with her.
Sarah Palin with a tan.
She walks in the room and wets her hair so it can get curly. And say, I don't have no white people hair, I'm black. And if you're going to call him black, you got to call me black. Ah! She was crazy. So I'm sitting there going, this really means a lot to a lot of people. But immediately my mind is going,
But can I stop? So she would downsize the black part of her?
No,
because she wanted like assimilate more into the white world.
No, she's upgrading.
Now she's upgrading the black side.
Part because
I get that, but
she hates the way she's black.
But before that, she would like make sure her hair is straight and all that to maybe like fit in a little more in the white world.
Nah, I mean, look.
And now that Obama's president, she's like, man, I'm letting the black hang out now.
No.
All right, because I'm a little.
No, it's something that only she can understand. See what I'm saying? It's like something that I couldn't. I was teasing her, but the fact that when I said she went to wet her hair, the only thing that made that happen is that I said, wow, she's serious. She's dead serious that she went to go wet her hair to say, no, I'm not a white woman. I'm not this. I'm not that. It was something that only someone mixed race could. I still don't know what it was that made her deeply feel that way. But when I'm watching that, because I was sitting there going, all right, what's this next? What do white people want out of this one? That's the first thing I'm thinking. I said, one thing I know, white people don't give it nothing for free racially. It ain't happening.
But hold on, that's not completely the truth. I mean, maybe, again, the certain institution, but this guy got a lot of white people voted for him.
Here's what we said. Look, first of all, it was almost split down the middle. What'd you say, 130 million people
voted? Sure.
It was almost even. It was every black person, almost every Latino person, almost every Jew, almost every minority, plus some white people.
Yeah.
I don't know how many.
More than John Kerry got.
Who cares?
That's a lot, though. That's a lot. And it's Democrat, Republican,
and that was with compelling people were compelled emotionally to vote. John Kerry versus Bush, people just voted for what they voted for. This one was all-time spectacular.
You didn't get white Republicans crossing party lines. Like, white Republicans voted the way Republicans
exactly.
This was black
big.
Republicans and Spanish Republicans probably crossing party lines.
It was because it was bigger than parties.
Right.
But ultimately, it was 60 million everybody's versus 59 million white people. To me,
here's the breakdown.
It made no difference to me. It was exactly what this country is. It just so happened to be more of the other side voted for Obama. That's what it was to me at the time.
Yeah.
At the time. But then I had to realize, what is it going to take for me to think differently? And I realized this.
All right. More white people voted for McCain than Obama.
Really?
Yeah.
How about all?
No. According to this, Obama got 43% of the white vote, right?
Yeah.
This is how I'm reading this. Mm-hmm. McCain got 55% of the white vote. Okay.
And then who was left?
Then blacks, 95% of blacks voting went with Obama.
All right.
And about 4% for McCain.
Okay.
Latino, 67% went Obama.
Okay.
31% went McCain.
Okay.
Asian, 2% Obama.
Mm-hmm.
35% McCain. And then the other was 31-31.
And by the way,
what was the other?
They're just saying other. Yeah, that's
dude.
Breaking down. Everybody else.
It was white. White people voted for McCain, and everybody else, and some white. Which is what I'm saying is the historical nature of this country, which is there'll be a few white people who do that side. Let's say that if all black people, all the minorities left this country, it would, and the 10 million or whatever so white people that voted for Obama stayed here, it would be like how they treat the people in Iraq, the Sunnis, like they would be ostracized because it's going against the country.
But no, it's not as much as white people. You have to because you're like, how could I look at things differently? White people elected him as their president. White people. I know all the black vote and all the Spanish vote, but he got a lot of white people. He didn't sneak in with 10% white vote. He got a massive amount of white people.
It has been the history of the country. Is that the same percentage of people who would vote? And again,
but Patrice, you also got to understand that the white vote is 74% of total voters.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to look at things
differently.
You don't like looking at things differently. But this wasn't just a fluke that he got in. This was white people looked at this guy
it's a fluke.
and said, we want him to be our president.
I'm not saying it's the fluke, but see, that's the part of it I disagree.
But I mean, going with Patrice's logic, even though the white vote was 74% of the total vote, like Obama really need the blacks, the
Sure.
Latinos, the Asians, and the others
Democrats
to
always
come
do.
out and come out and vote.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's always that way, Republican, Democrat, don't forget.
Right.
Always that way.
Absolutely.
Here's my issue is not, it's like this is, my thing, what I start thinking deeply about is, look, payback. And the payback is this. People going to want something out of this. And what white people going to want out of this is the end of racism. The end of black people talking about slavery and talking about race and talking about you look at where you've come. And that's the thing that this country doesn't understand, even with Jeremiah Wright, why black people weren't upset with him, is because we understand what that is. We live here, we make it, we do this and we do that, but we do it despite this country. And it's not you and it's not you, but you think of yourself as a white guy, Opie. You think of yourself as a white guy, Norton, but your family may have never had anything to do with slavery, ever. But the fact is what this country has set up, meaning you gonna feel white, your color oppresses my color. And wait a minute, black people have never, ever have found a way to forgive this country. That's the problem, and that's what's going to change this country is when black people are able to forgive the United States. There's no place to forgive.
But you can't look at something like white people only voted for him because they wanted to be the end of black complaining. I mean, to put it in a nutshell.
How would I ever know?
Maybe some white people. But you're not saying that any people were like, yeah, I like this guy. Symbolically, I like what it is. But I also think it's like you don't realize that white people, we're not, I'm not even just me and Opie white guys, but other white guys, we're not just a bunch of hayseeds running around going, well, we voted one in, everything's all right.
No,
right.
No,
it's
see,
like,
that's not, I'm not marginalizing people's minds like that.
Like people will look at this and go, it's a step in the right, it's a positive.
Do you think there are men who work with women, right, as dudes, men who work every day in an office with a woman, right, and he just wants to squeeze her boob.
Yeah.
Or grab her boot. And the only thing stopping him, really, is
HR.
Can't do it.
HR.
HR.
Before HR, you got away with that stuff.
That's
a little pinch line.
Thank you. Okay.
And that's why the women in the office place, they now dress sexier because they know no one's going to touch them.
No one's going to touch them.
They're not buttoning up anymore because they got someone protecting them. And that cleavage is all flowing in the workplace.
A lot of white people, I'm not saying all or anything. I'm saying a lot of white people, racism, being a racist, is the worst thing. The very worst thing that you can be accused of as a white person now. And so bad that, you know what? Even if I'm racist, I might vote for Obama just so I can make sure that if something comes down and I'm accused of being racist, that you can't call me that because I voted for Obama. Ultimately, dude, you got to understand, Norton, the relationship between black and white people in this country is based on your superiority mentally and over black people. And that has never changed. See, when the Jews was free from bondage, if the Jews story is biblical. Mm-hmm. If you watch the damn 10 Commandments, at the end of the day, the Pharaoh really wanted to kill him. He came down. He wanted to say, you know what? I freed him, but I'm going to go murder him. Rode down there with his chariots. The Red Sea opened up, washed them all away. He went back home and was like, hey, look. And his wife was like, did you kill him? He's like, look, his God is God. God freed the Jews. God, the how we live our lives is based on how the Jews were free. Basically, the 10 Commandments, most of us, that's the mantra of how we live our lives. It was a special story. They're the chosen people. It's closure. There's a villain, which is the Pharaoh in Egypt. There's a beginning, a middle, there's an end. It's over. They don't have to continue to hate vagueness. How we were freed, it was paperwork. If you read the Emancipation Proclamation, which is the document that freed the slaves, it's nothing but making black people go to war. And in the third paragraph, it's like, hey, go report to something.
Yeah, but
in that war.
I get it. We've talked about it many, many times. So how do we solve this? Because I'll tell you this much.
There's no way for white people to solve it. That's what an arrogant statement right there.
No, but I'll tell you something, because like the average white person doesn't think of the slavery thing like you guys do.
Of course you don't.
And I know, and as a white person, I can tell you, I just worry about my own struggles. I can give a crap
but here's
about
why it's easy
your
for you
struggles
to
or
do
anybody
that.
else, because I had it tough growing up. My struggles were against the system. It wasn't a color. And as I continue to be very successful in my life, I have a lot of people in my family that are still struggling. And that's what I focus my attentions on.
If I
could give a crap about the slave thing.
Of course, if I punch you in your face every day.
Right.
And then I just stop.
But that's why I don't know how this ever works itself out.
I'm going to tell you how it works itself out.
Because we got our own struggles. I can't be bothered with worrying about...
It's easy for you...
making that slave thing completely go away.
It's easy for your skin color to move on.
But it's not easy.
For you.
I got brothers that are still struggling because of the system, not because of slavery or any of that.
You're talking about personal experience.
Well, that's what we all look at.
But this is not. This is bigger than personal experience.
Well, you're not going to get Whitey's help on that. How do we figure this out?
This is why ultimately you're not. This is what I'm saying. White people's idea that they're going to figure this out is the ultimate arrogance of it. Is that I'm doing my part to help. The only way
we don't even think that way.
The only way that black people are going to really move on is to find closure for ourselves,
right?
Because we're not going to get it from white people.
So again, how do we get to that point?
How do you get? I don't know how. See, my thing is, again personal experience. You're my friend. You're my friend. It's like, but I dislike white people. But I don't see you as a white dude. You're Norton. But I'm talking about what this country does and what your skin color is in this country and the things. And I can't. Nobody black is going to relate to. Hey man, the system. It's like, yeah, what, taxes or something else or something. I'm talking about oppression. I'm talking about a country who did something to a people who never ever said that this is wrong. Now, I live with the legacy of the skin, and you live with the legacy of the skin, and it's still that way. We have never mentally, for the color, never mentally been moved on.
But this country hasn't moved on. The country has said it was wrong. More than symbolically, the way things have changed in the last X amount of years. I'm not saying that erases anything.
What, we get stuff? Black presidents?
Yeah, but it's not that, man. It's not that. It's the way people look at things. It's the interactions people have. You can't write it off as just, like, you painted it like all of a sudden, like, all white people still think the same way.
No.
And nothing has changed.
No.
What
has changed?
What changed? Like everything... perceptions, the way people interact, people's desire just to live with each other and not have any of this crap that was going on for all these years. That has changed a lot, and it hasn't been force-fed. You can't just say that everybody who is pro-Obama or who is pro all this stuff are being force-fed and reluctant or looking at black people in a negative way. It's just not true.
Let me ask you this.
Do you agree it's getting better?
Do I agree it's getting better?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll tell you why.
We did a show on Friday. We're moving on from that, but we learned that, like, in your lifetime, you're in your early 40s or so, or getting there, right? So blacks went from not voting to having the first black president in your lifetime. I'm just asking.
But I'm saying, do you understand?
The slave thing's not even on my radar.
But do you understand that
I got my own issues.
We understand
things I worry about for me and
everybody
my family.
have their own personal issues,
right?
And black don't. And here's the thing that it's like that black people haven't moved on. We haven't moved on. We have moved on. It's the fact is that to really end it, we need closure mentally, because
this summer the Congress did apologize formally for slavery.
But you said
it doesn't mean anything. Do you understand?
Isn't it a start?
It's not a start.
No,
because a bunch of white guys who decide this was bad. It goes. This is what I'm saying, that you can do nothing about it, because we have to go back in time to where the wrongness happened. To where, like, the wrong. See, ultimately, dude, there's a feeling that black people have that's not going to be changed by apologies or money or anything. It's a forgiveness that we don't have for the country, that white people can say, hey, man, I got my problems. We know, because that's human problems, issues. Your mama's sick, your feet hurt. We understand. I'm talking about, as a people, that this country has done nothing but wrong. And the people, I think in 1950, if there was a black candidate, he might have still won. If in 1950 the Klan wasn't allowed to just beat somebody's ass at the voting booth. I think there have been enough people to vote a black president in then. I don't think, my thing is the inside, how people feel. I don't care about the trinkets of just, here you go. Here you go. Here's a president. Here's this. Doesn't that see the change? Look how far you've come. What?
But it's not just that. It's not just that. That's the point I'm making. That if that was the way everybody thought, you'd be right. But everybody is not looking at it like, here you are, child, take this. You don't want white paternalism.
I'm generalizing.
You don't want white paternalism, and fair enough. Nobody would want that. It's insulting. But that's not the way it is for all people. And that's what I'm saying. You can't look at it like everyone is just looking at it like, well, here's your little gift. Slavery's over. Pat on the head. Take care, guys. Yeah. That's not the way all people are looking at it.
We're not. Again, I'm gonna say this one more time. It's not all people. This is what I'm saying, dude. The arrogance that white people put themselves, anytime the word white is said, that you would put yourself in a category to understand. See how you understand the white point of view, Norton?
Sure,
that, hey, this is not what we all, this is, you gotta understand there's a new kind of racism, man. It's lying. This is why I appreciate Anthony.
You can't say white and expect other white people to not react any more than if some people say black, you're going to react. You can't paint it like where black people can react one way to the whole country and it can all feel the same thing because of their skin color, and yet you can criticize white people and of course white people are going to get reacted.
But the color that we're talking about is the same color that messes with your family when you say you have your problems and you're worried about your family and things. That's the white that black people are talking about. That's why black people are closer to having this racial thing end than white people, because we live in a country, Norton, okay, where really we've never felt like anything's changed. Even though, okay, you're allowed to do this, is almost, it's insulting.
But it's a generational thing. It's like we're living it, and I said this to Anthony too. In hindsight, this is going to be a blip on the radar. Like, oh yeah, that's when things were all of a sudden different. But in a real generational life, like we're living it real time. So it's not going to be finished in our lifetimes. But we're living it real time. It is happening relatively quickly. When you look where something happened, if you're living in the 40-year period, you're like, who cares? Now I'm allowed to do this.
Where's the internal change of all this? The internal,
I'm not sure what you mean.
The difference in your life, the difference that makes you go, damn, this was foul, and move on. See, it's easy to move on when you're white. It's not easy to move on when you feel the same way in this country, and now the covertness of it is hard to, you can't prove it. Before, all we could do was relate to lynching, dogs, hoses, and George Wallace. Now it's who, me? I don't know. So basically, what we have left, like I said, Jews had Hitler and his mustache and his friends. We have white.
Color. I know, you got a color. I understand
white.
That. Well,
that's it.
All right, well, come up with a solution then.
There's the one
that's what I asked you today.
It's generational. It's not going to happen now. It's a slow. Again, 500 years from now, people look back. They'll go, oh yeah, you know, in 2000, they'll probably just call 2000. All of a sudden, 2000, they got a black president, and all, things will be different because you'll have a 50 or 100-year span to look at it. In real time, when you're living something, it seems like it's slow and nothing is happening.
What is it? Longer than 2000.
That's a pretty good point Jimmy's making, by the way.
Longer than 2,000 years was Moses, because Jesus was 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Before that was was the Old Testament.
We got a break. We'll
go to break. We'll continue. The phones are lit. You got them reacting today, Patrice. So we'll continue with this discussion just a bit. 877-212-0-8. You're not going to get in now, but maybe a little later if you want to add to this. Opie and Anthony. Today, we got the black version of Anthony in studio today. Holy yes. Got to acknowledge that. Wow. I, for one, I'm very excited Obama's the president, just because I think he's the right man for the job.
All right.
Simple as that. And we've discussed the black-white thing, and I'm sitting here really thinking about it. And I don't know what you could say to make me understand, because I just didn't.
You can't.
I didn't live this. I don't know anybody that.
Let me ask this to the ladies.
Yeah.
If there was a woman president, right? If there was a woman president, and all women would just be proud. to see that. As a woman, there's no way you couldn't be proud. Now, as a dude, I dismiss women. Shut up. But let's say you ask a woman, what's this mean to you? And where have you come now? A woman will go, this is a start. This is definitely a start in the right direction, but there's a lot of things.
Kind of like Jackie Robinson was
Jackie
a start.
Robinson. And then I say to a woman, I go, what? A start? It's done. Shut up. Abortion? I don't want to hear about it no more.
You think the black president, a lot of white people are going to look at it like, all right, even Steven.
Now what?
Yeah.
Where else? What else can you people complain about?
If they do, so what?
What else?
But so what if they do that?
What? That's what I mean. Ultimately,
I don't like
ultimately,
I don't like your wife.
No kidding, man.
I bend over backwards.
Do you really think Whitey has it easy in this country? I know
Opie,
you.
You don't understand what I'm saying because you're saying that to me.
But I know, yeah, exactly, because I know you think Whitey has it a lot easier. I know that being white probably makes it easier in this country. I'm not stupid, but it's still effing hard for us too.
Okay, but at least you're not me.
That's why I'll never understand this, because I know the struggles that I'll say it again, that I have, my family has. I got people in my family working 2 jobs trying to pay bills. That's all they care about.
Let's go back to.
They don't give a crap what you or your people, sorry to say it like that, have been through.
Let's go
have
back.
Our own problems.
Let's go back to where white people in this country were different from each other. What was that about, Stonebrain? 1901?
Yeah.
When there was WAPs, mix, this, that, third, that, blah, blah.
Sure.
Ultimately, you would have understood then.
But I'm not living then.
But see, this is what I'm saying.
Living now. I'm in the here and now.
But because you're not in the here and now. See, this is the thing. White people erase historical value from this country, and it's about moving on. Nobody says to a Jew,
it's not
the Holocaust.
But Patrice,
get over it.
But I'm really trying to simplify this. It's not about moving on.
It's not simplifying.
It's our day-to-day struggle and I mean for me and my family and close friends. That's what I care. That's my world.
Because
I can't be bothered and worry about what slavery has done to you.
Are you Irish? You're Irish, right?
I'm a mutt. Seriously, I'm everything.
Let's say if your blood was Irish, if you was purebred Irish, and it didn't go into the direction of color where Irish people kind of feel superior, Polish people feel superior, based on the color. Historically, man, the color is the issue. Obama is not a black dude. He ain't a black dude. He's black by his skin color. Do you understand what this country is? It's based on color, and it's not going to change. As a white guy, you deal with things that people deal with.
What do you mean he's not a black dude, though? I'm not sure what you mean.
He's not.
Well, he's not like Flavor Flav.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I watched D.L. Hewley's show.
He's not like a Flavor Flav. He's like.
That's like saying John Kerry's not white because he's not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, it's not the same. I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you something. Black Africans, right? I watched D.L. Hewley's show on CNN. And he interviewed these Africans from Kenya. And Africans, you should have seen this interview. I got so mad because they took credit. See, Africa does not associate themselves with black America. They go, he is the first generation Kenyan. What are you, D.L. Hughley? Wouldn't even pronounce his name right. Africans make me sick. D.L. Hughley.
I didn't even know this was going on.
Yeah, exactly, because you're white.
That's fine.
And you don't need to know.
How would we know?
I don't need to know.
Africans don't tell us anything. How do we know?
So,
how many Africans do I know?
Mr. Hughley, you are here 70 generations, and look at what you did. Nothing. And we import.
Don't tell me to wait.
We export presidents to your country. Africans embrace this as him. He's not meaning this. Jesse Jackson's son would be the black president. Now, Obama's the black president because of skin, not because of historic value. And wow, this dude is black. And I don't mean he's black like he don't have rhythm or something. The dude is half white, half African.
He's seen. Again, it's all perception. He lives as a black male.
Thank you.
He's seen as a black male.
We're saying the same thing.
I know. But I'm saying is, you're looking at the internal stuff, but he is seen as a black man in this country's eyes, and this country said he's a black. They're not looking at it like Jesse Jackson's son.
Right.
Well, he's blacker or more black American. He's half can. The country looked at a black guy with the name Barack Obama and said, we like
Don't
this
forget
guy.
the Hussein part.
But you know what I mean? It was like, we like this guy. We want him to be our president. And I know that sounds cheesy. I'm not saying it erases everything, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. But that's what my problem is. I guess I'm being utopian about it. Is what it is to me is very scary. Because ultimately, the only thing that can keep slavery from happening again, I was talking to my mother like, hey, Mom, what if the country just decided to go, hey, look, we don't have enough money. We need free labor. Sorry, black folks, we got to reinstitute slavery. Now, ultimately, hypothetically, that's ridiculous.
Of course it is.
But why is it? Based on what is that ridiculous? Other than, oops, it's not going to happen. But if they needed free labor to build this country up again in terms of for its money, and they said black people, we have to reinstitute slavery.
Ridiculous.
What would happen? It's ridiculous based on the idea that it's ridiculous.
What are we going to do with all the Mexicans then?
Exactly.
Sorry.
That's what
Sorry,
I mean.
Mexicans.
We have to do. We have to joke that.
I'll tell you why it's ridiculous.
We have to.
No, I'll tell you why it's ridiculous. Because the world's a different place. Information is passed.
Is that why it's ridiculous? Because the world, think the world's different?
Slavery, let's be honest, when it happened, was happening all over the world. It was accepted all over the world. It does happen maybe in Sudan in certain places. It's not an acceptable practice in the world now.
Now, the word you said is acceptable, Jim. See,
Yes.
This is what I mean. This is my thing.
Well, everything is whether it's acceptable or unacceptable.
It's acceptable behavior. You could beat your kids. When I was growing up, your parents could beat the dog doo-doo out of their kids. That was acceptable. Why did they stop? Some parents still want to beat the dog doo-doo, throw their kids through a window. And they stop because beating your kids is done socially. But my thing is, I would love it to feel done. I don't want somebody to think that by the graces of, like, I'm lucky you, by the graces of not God or the graces of not anything bigger than a group feeling like they're giving other things to another group, do I want that
That's
change?
always the way it will be numerically then. You can't, you're putting it into a no-win situation, because the bottom line is, unless there are an even number of people in a country, if you want to look at it like that, that means any time in any country that the smaller group is not enslaved by the larger group, that it's simply a bunch of bullcrap and they're being polite. It doesn't make sense that way. That's not the reality. That doesn't say that the world is a different place.
Like, I know women are happy that guys don't run around like caveman days and just hit them on top of the head and drag them with their hair. But I think...
that could come back someday?
Dude, this is my analogy, that... Because my girl called me a black supremacist, like, when we was watching. She was like, you're just the same as the rest of them. She's
I'm going to be talking to her at the wedding.
You're a black supremacist. But I thought it took her understanding as a woman to get it. It's like this. If you come in the house, right, and you beat your wife, punch her in the face every day.
Yeah.
And she stands there, right, and that's the part of life. You can beat her ass and there's nothing she can say. One day you come in and you don't punch her. She don't say nothing. She's just not getting punched. She's like, whew. Then a month goes by, you just stop punching her. Then one day you come in with flowers. You give her flowers. And then she goes, you have a moment, you go, She goes, why did you stop punching me? And you go, a lot of my friends was getting arrested for punching their wives, so I didn't want to get arrested. I just didn't punch you in your face no more. And she goes, what? Wait a minute. The only reason you stop punching me is because you might get in trouble for doing it. And ultimately, I know you're not getting punched, but the idea that someone's not, it's not a heartfelt thing. But
that's how most people stop doing
That's
stuff.
the original stop. That's the original stop. And then 20 years later, if husbands all over are still not punching their wives,
right,
the wives can't go, you're only not hitting me so you don't go to jail, because it goes beyond that, where it's like all husbands
but you know what?
You're not supposed to do that.
Here's the point. It's still at the mercy of social acceptance.
Numerically, it will always be that then. Then you're putting it into a situation where no one can win, because that's a numerical game.
And that's why I'm saying white people have no way to help. It's only, and I don't know the answer because I want to forgive. And what I mean by forgive is when a white dude says, hey, man, hey, you're really articulate, or you're smart. I want to go, thanks, dude. But in me, I go, what you validate my intelligence, cracker? I'm better than you.
You didn't think that you didn't think Obama was going to win. You thought he had no shot.
No shot.
And then all of a sudden,
until I start reading.
And then you start, okay.
I remember the call. You're like, I think this guy has a real shot.
Because of the electoral vote. Now, I'm very happy. He won the popular.
Yes.
Because if he didn't win the popular and he won the electorate, like I said, white people, when the answers, you think you got the answers, we'll change the questions. They would have changed the electoral vote.
That didn't happen. What happened was he got the majority. He got a good majority of the vote.
Thank God.
But he did. And he got the electoral. It was a completely legitimate. It was it was a pretty overwhelming compared to where the last elections have gone. McCain even said in his concession, he said, and the country has spoken, they've spoken clearly. I mean, it was a beating.
That is what, see, how I felt at McCain, watching McCain's acceptance speech.
He was great.
I mean, concession speech.
McCain was great with that.
How I felt was what it'll take for me to forget, is like to see somebody that, a white guy, old white man, just something about him just felt like he wanted to go, I'm sorry. It looked like he wanted to go, look, man, I knew he was better going in. I would have voted for him if I didn't have to go through this nonsense of being Mr. Old White Man. This guy is better. And you know it, and I know it. Boo!
But that's typical politics. Like, that
wasn't a typical political speech.
No. But the booing, they always do that.
Oh, yeah.
They don't always boo.
When you mention the opponent in the concession speech,
what?
No, they always.
Every concession speech.
It's always the guy like,
everyone.
My opponent ran a better campaign. Boo! Go back in history.
Everyone, dude.
Every time we elect a new president,
I'm going to go with you guys on this. This is what I'm saying to bring it to what I want to feel. I don't want to feel like they booed the black guy racially.
They didn't boo the black guy.
But do you understand?
They were booing that.
They're booing that a little bit.
Feelings.
They were booing that their guy they worked so hard for is not going to be the president. And they believe in him and his policy.
I'm telling you.
All right, that's
they do it with every
That's
election.
what you say.
Every election.
You're paranoia. I don't understand.
It's paranoia. You dismiss it paranoid. Fair enough.
Hold on.
That bullying
There's a saying. Just because I'm paranoid don't mean somebody ain't trying to kill me.
You're right, but that
Patrice, let me tell you something. You're paranoia, and I don't understand because I don't live your life. I so don't see it that way. Don't see it that way.
But do you understand? You see it that way, and I don't, and I see it differently.
That's why
I want to see it differently. That's my whole thing.
To me, it was so obvious they were booing because their man did not win.
They booed McCain when Obama mentioned him. They do that.
You white. This country. Let me stop saying white.
No, forget what black and white.
This country dismisses black people's feelings as paranoia.
But just because white people dismiss black people's feelings of paranoia,
find out if
it doesn't
black
mean that
people
they never
think
are.
the same thing I do.
It doesn't mean that they never are. They boo every concession speech.
Right.
Everyone.
Hold on. Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
They boo the other guy.
You're 100% right by me saying you're paranoid by saying that. You're 100% right. I said it the wrong way, but I'm just saying, like, I saw it one way, you saw another way.
But to not see that booing,
to say that you're paranoid over that, you know what? Maybe that is going a little.
Can we go to the OJ verdict? What did you? Real quick. What did you feel, Norton? What did you feel was going on with black people when that verdict was read and we was running?
I thought they were insane
originally.
Because it was 1994. You're talking 14 years ago. I personally have gotten more knowledge and understand things a little better. But in '94, I'm like, they're cheering them. I did not understand
and why
on any
did you
level
think
where that was coming
all
from.
did it at the same time. It was like,
now
no one got a cell phone call to cheer right
now. In
the
moment you look at it, you're asking what I thought about it. In the moment you look at it, like, I was actually shocked how naive I was. I was shocked that he was acquitted. But when you look at it, like, all right, black people are all cheering for this. Internally, you know, there's not a bunch of people cheering that a lady got her throat cut. It's like, that didn't make any kind of sense because the reaction was too immediate. And it was too 100% and 100% this way. And then you realize, like, you know, as you get over the shock of the acquittal, because it really was a case where the guy was obviously guilty. Mm-hmm. All right, well, they're cheering. I figured they were cheering for Cochran more than anything. And the fact that a guy like Cochran outslicked like almost like this is what it feels like. Like, do you get it now? This is what it feels like for it to be so obvious and still go wrong.
Wait, you really thought they were cheering for Cochran back then?
Not in the moment. I didn't. When it was first happening, it was an anger or it was a shock, because I really was shocked that he was acquitted. Again, we've never had a trial that we all watched day to day like this.
Right.
This, no one's ever seen a murder trial unfold so completely on television like a soap opera. So we all kind of knew what happened. And then for it to go the other way, I wasn't thinking like, well, racially. And then as time went on, I was like, that's what it was.
I was so confused.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
I was so confused by that. I was like, what? It made me try to get more knowledge. Because I was like, I didn't understand it in the slightest why they were cheering. Did not understand it.
What you guys, now, education makes you able to think and be logical. Sometimes reading doesn't help you be logical. I don't like people who read. Like, some people think because they read something and they recite what they read back to you that makes them wonderfully intelligent.
Right.
I like people who think. So you got your intelligence, and then you went and thought about it.
I tried, yeah, because obviously what was going on that I was naive to, that the black man was being screwed over in the judicial system. I had no idea.
How can white people not?
I had no idea.
This is how.
In '94, I had no effing idea that was going on.
This is how wonderfully lucky this country is.
Because guess what? I read a bunch of articles after that. I went, wow, all right, this is where this is coming from. I'm not sure if I, agreed, but I'm like, okay, at least I have more knowledge on why the reaction was such.
Can you believe, Anthony, I heard him talk about, he the president now, right? I heard that one. And I'm like,
we laughed at him for that.
It's hilarious.
Because I mean, Jimmy and I live in New York. I have to say it again. Some of the hardcores will kill me on this one, but I am not seeing what Anthony is.
Why would any white person?
I'm just not seeing it.
Understanding the history, which means a lot of white people don't need to know the history of this country. Don't need to know. So why would any white person who didn't know any history not have you have to read books and learn about the history of this country to say, you know what? Damn, all they're doing is saying Obama now for what this country did. That's all they're doing. They can't have that one.
I don't want to get
white people. Your record is 1,000,000.
But I don't want to get away from the fact that you were talking about the booing, because as much as what you're saying, a lot of what you're saying is very correct, and I know it's correct. But that is like when you're looking at something that way and you're going into that extreme of it, you are looking at it wrong.
And exactly, but I'm admitting it, Norton. I want to be able to. See, there's been enough black mayors who've done some really ridiculous things. Kwame, the one in Newark, Sharp James, Marion Barry smoking crack. There's been some black mayors who've done enough things to where if a white mayor's running against a black guy, I go, hey. It just has to be enough black people doing enough things for me to give white people the benefit of the doubt. Well, and it's hard to do.
Well, that's what I was saying the other day. We were talking about this, and the bottom line is presidential elections are once every 4 years. It's going to be a historical view. It's not going to happen in any lifetime.
Yeah.
Say 200 years from now, when they look at a 100-year block of time, we have 25 more elections after this Obama election. Let's just say of the 25 elected presidents, 6 are black, 19 are white.
Well, let's be honest.
5 and 20, however you want to look at it.
What, 5 out of 20 will be black presidents?
Let's say over the next 100 years.
Hell no.
Here's what 100 years is going to be. One of these things is not like the other.
In 100 years, you're wrong. There's going to be a Jewish president. Of course there will be.
A Jewish president?
In 100 years, the way the global economy is all becoming one.
This world hating Jews. They hate Jews for 10,000 years.
I understand that, but look at the high level guys like Bloomberg and guys like Lieberman. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And once it happens like you said, it's not as big a deal anymore. In 100 years, will they look back and say that there were 4 or 5 black presidents in a 100-year period from this point?
No.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You think there'll be 5 presidents in 5 black presidents in 100 years?
Out of 25 elections?
Are you out your mind, Norton?
Why not?
Why not?
Patrice?
It's not going to happen.
Why not? If Obama is a good president, and it just becomes, would you have thought that way? There was going to be X amount of black mayors, or X amount of, like you said, the first one, X amount of black players, or X amount of black anything. Once it happens once, like you said, the first one's symbolic.
Yeah, then
it just becomes something that is a part of the country.
All right, fair enough. I wish I could be a vampire to know. I really wish.
But that's not even being that positive. Saying 5 elections, or you want to go 4 out of the next 100 years.
I think the possibility is right
It's
there,
not
man. It's not a crazy thought, Patrice.
at all.
Dude, this is again, I'm going to say to you guys, this is why I exhume you from responsibility. I really want to feel that way. I can think that way and I can agree with logic, but I'm in the middle of being a reasonable, logical person and feeling how I feel.
All right.
And I'm telling you how you feel.
He says 5 presidents in the next 100 years will be black. How many do you think?
None.
We're going to go 100 years without another black president?
I'm going to tell you why, because here's my theory on what the racial problem is going to be. This is what my problem is with this. One, I'm telling you, there's an internal healing that has to happen. There has to be some internal stoppage to this. External things, it doesn't. See, here's the thing. I don't think, like, sports is different. Sports, you go, hey, man, that N-word can run fast, and we need somebody who can run fast on the team. Hey, man, this, that, and the third. But in terms of, okay, this black man is the best to run this country right now, that would have to say that internally that this country will change in 100 years. I don't think it to be so.
You also didn't think Obama was going to win.
No, not until the day before.
And now that he has won, you're still finding reasons as to why it's like.
Do you understand? I have to stop you every time there's an arrogant white statement, and I'm not. Let me finish this. Without maliciousness, that is an arrogant statement that I'm still finding reasons you are dismissing.
No, I'm not. You're jumping on the first part of the sentence I used, meaning you're still finding reasons as to why it's all negative. And to
you really do that, Patrice.
You rigged the game in your own mind,
that.
Patrice. You rigged the game in your own mind. Well, first, the guy's not going to win. He can't win.
Right.
And then he wins, and you have no change of thought whatsoever. It's almost like, okay, but at least that's not an arrogant statement.
You know what made me think he had a chance to win? Is the last-ditch effort. Barack Hussein Obama running for president.
Right.
Black dude. Father left his home.
Right.
Smoked, did coke, the whole thing. The last-ditch effort the day before, what made me believe is that white people or the Republicans thought he was going to win because his last-ditch effort was his poor black auntie in Boston. I said, this dude is going to win.
The Republicans,
because they got.
They knew he was going to win.
That
I think the Republicans all along were worried he was going to win. I think that's why they put a 72-year-old guy instead of one of the young future of the Republican parties against him. I think they knew he was virtually.
They didn't want to lower someone's stock.
Yeah, like a guy like Mitt Romney, which is somebody who's like more stock.
I think politically they realize it's time. There's going to be a black president.
McCain and that moron from Alaska, that's who they throw out there.
Right.
I think they knew that he was virtually unbeatable, and he would only damage any young, great Republican.
But when you say he threw him out there, that means, but he had to be voted to be the representative of the Republicans.
No, but I still think the Republicans understood on some level that this guy, and again, I don't think anybody said, look, he's unbeatable, but I think everybody looked at Obama.
You think psychologically that some of this stuff's going on? I believe so.
I think everybody looked at this guy and just saw what he was and saw this JFK vibe he had to him and know this guy is going to be, because he has no record. Well, yeah, that hurts him because he's inexperienced, but it also hurts him because there's very little to attack. Like, if you're going to run one of your young, really hot Republicans, give him 4 years, and then at least you have a record you can go after. There's no record. All you're going after now is Obama as this iconic figure, which he was before he... And I think they intuitively understood that. I really do. He seemed like an unbeatable guy.
Look, these phones are they're just chomping. And
we got to get a break.
We just can't get to them, which is... We'll try after the break. You all right?
What?
You all right?
What'd you call me?
I said, you all right?
Oh, I thought he called me. Oh, my bad.
No, it's just what everybody's
crazy?
It's only what everybody's thinking.
I'm messing with you. I'm still a comedian.
I would never do it to your face. What's wrong with you? What do you think? I'm stupid? I might be naive about black culture, but I know when to say it and when not to.
I was ready to call him Patrice the mind reader.
Opie and Anthony. For the record, I invited Patrice to my wedding, so.
I should be arriving about 3:30.
I'm going to give you your own table, though. I might give you a table with my Uncle Tom.
Oh, Jesus.
I really do have an Uncle Tom, so.
I'm getting a new tent just to drive into Philly that day.
Nice.
You know the thing is,
Opie and Anthony,
all
by
this
the way, Jim
racial
Norton.
discussion.
Yeah.
And so people don't understand how many black people and white people get along, like in Las Vegas. Like there's a comedy festival, right? I happen to be doing a show.
Jimmy, not now.
What? It's important. Whoa. It's about race. Next Friday at 7 o'clock, I'm doing the comedy festival, Caesar's Palace. It's not about that or my AC dates in January. You want to go see me in Atlantic City? Go ahead. But it's about racial healing, and that's what I'm trying to talk about, not me.
Oh, my God. The phones are lit. So, I think Patrice is hoping for something that just obviously isn't going to happen in your lifetime.
Not from white people.
Because we were talking about it during the break, but...
nothing you can do. Just stay what you are, white
We've come a long way.
Remember I told you about Geraldo and what they would have? It would. That's what I wanted to say and I forgot.
Yeah.
It's like we all realize that there's race and racial problems and racial issues in this country, but the only people who ever say and admit that they have racial feelings is black people. I can't find an intelligent white person who admits to being racist.
I agree.
So when I watch Geraldo, it would always be, remember back in the day Geraldo had his show, it would always be a frothing at the mouth cracker versus Dr. Leroy Smith, the head of psychology at Negro University, discussing race with a guy that goes, you know what? You know why we're better than you? Because you get sickle cell anemia. And we don't.
Not just a smart white guy who is like, a regular person who will go, black people. I agree with you. Yet you annoy me sometimes.
Yeah,
I agree.
just there's no gray area white person where it's like, it's either you're a crazed lunatic or I don't see color.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more. It sickens me.
Liars. That's what the problem is. Black people got over it quite well. We're getting over it despite everything. We're doing quite fine.
Let me ask you something, Patrice. You got two Obama supporters in studio today.
All right.
Why do you think we support Obama?
I don't know. Tell me.
No, but he's asking your opinion.
Why do I think you support Obama? Because you're rational and you're in education.
Because I feel guilty.
No, I don't think you feel guilty. You know why? Again, we're talking. It's just like the money we might make in this business when you explain it to somebody who works hard. And if you complain and go, oh, man, I made this much last week, and you complain, the average square is going to go, I'll kill you if you complain about that kind of money. But it's the same thing with what we do. We're honest for a living, Opie. We attach ourselves mentally to our feelings. A lot of people don't have the ability to attach rationale and reason to their feelings. And that's what makes them what they are. I'm trying to be logical along with how I feel. That's how I'm able to function. If I was only emotional, there'd be problems. Real problems. Worse problems than I have now. So why I think you and Norton did is because you try to live as honest as you can. And so for you to lie about how you might feel about Obama means you'll lie about anything, and your whole stilo's not to lie. But look at what you do for a living every day for 5 hours. You're trying to be honest about things. So you're not setting yourself up to be a hypocrite, and you're not political. That's why I think you two voted for him. And I'm not saying that every other white person voted for him for something different, but I'm saying when you're not...
I didn't vote, by the way, just for the record.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
No, but you led it with, why do you think we voted for him?
He means supported him.
Supported him?
Yeah,
if you voted for him, I think you might support him because of that, because you're rational and despite whatever you might have felt, you could make a decision based on being reasonable. And I don't think everybody has the ability to be reasonable.
I think more do than you think, though. You're right. Not everybody doesn't, but I think more do than you think. But I do agree with that frothing at the mouth racist. And even as a white guy, it is hard to pull out of other white people any racial feelings at all. And I know
racial's the good word. See, every time you hear race with white people, they think it's racist.
Racial.
But racial exists.
Having racial fears is okay.
With everybody.
It happens. But you have a lot of white people
who admits it?
Not many people. You're right.
White people don't admit it. No. And I see it on stage by their, and it makes me nuts. Whenever you mention racial fear or racial discomfort, because everybody has moments of it, they interpret it as I'm a racist if I admit that.
And what you just said is what I'm talking about with this election is a bunch of people who can go, you don't,
we just gotta,
I'm voting. Aw,
We got to come up with a different word because racial's too close to racist, and that's why probably.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm.
But you voted for Obama because he's black. You pretty much admitted that on the show.
I didn't vote either, but yeah.
If I went on stage...
Because I just want to see it.
If you went on stage, Patrice, as a black comic in front of a white audience, you'll tell white people they annoy you, and they'll laugh. And if I went on and said, black people annoy me sometimes, white people would be very uncomfortable. Black people would probably be much more...
And here's why I set myself up to try to not be a hypocrite, because I used to have arguments with white comics all the time, and I used to go, look, I try to approach it without it being taking advantage of white guilt. Right. I try to make it real and try to make myself a villain sometime. And you see me perform, Norton. I try to make myself a villain so that I'm not endearing, so that when I say it, that white people can be upset.
Rousing success.
Yeah, right on.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
By the way, for the record, because Anthony's not here, when you ask him why McCain, he would say because, he believes in McCain's policies over Obama.
Of course.
I'll say, but there's
I'm
one...
just saying.
Ant is valid when he talks about...
And he could back it up because he starts spewing some stuff.
The NRA, he's a big NRA guy. And look, Obama's tax policy, it's like, it is a big thing, though.
He wouldn't be this animalistic.
Probably not, right.
If it was a white guy that won.
But he'd be closer to this animalistic
I guarantee.
than you think.
How long you guys been working together?
14.
8 years for me.
14 years.
Yeah, we started with the OJ thing.
Clinton was in office for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
8 years.
8.
No, 6 years at that time, meaning 6 more years Clinton was in office during that time. Was he ever out of his mind like he is now, and there's a Democratic president?
We didn't really...
He didn't make the money back then either.
We've grown over the years. We didn't talk politics back in '94.
But now his growth is based on saying uppity N-words that he's goofy enough to think that black people... Here's the thing.
In all fairness...
Don't you think we just give a black dude who doesn't know any better, give him that?
In all fairness, like Ant's not here. He'll have a lot to say about this tomorrow, but what we need to do is get you both in studio at the same time to really have at it.
No, that's a good point,
but because it's not fair it's easy, No, you're looking at an empty mic over there, so...
What the hell? I've been listening to...
I understand, but we got to give him the opportunity to defend what he's saying.
The uppity N-word, she bumped into me, and how dare she? It's white entitlement, but you still won't say you racist, you liars.
That's a good point about if the guy is yelling, Obama's president. Like, that's just...
He's goofy.
It's such a taunting, silly thing.
Exactly. But you know what that is? Not defending that kid, but I'm going to say that the dude... He would have found any way. He would have been like, he would have said, Jesse Jackson bought new shoes. Yeah. It just is something that you can go,
he's breaking balls.
He's busting your balls. Right. The black president.
Let me, we're going to go to the phones because these guys have been holding some for over an hour. And I'm going to do it this way, Patrice, because, I'm a smart radio show host. I could
unleash.
I could just pick the call.
Wait, how many?
If I wanted to.
Exactly.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go from top to bottom.
Do you think?
Whatever we get, we get. Okay.
I got a stick I'll poke you with. Back. Back. Shut up. Shut up. Down, boy.
Let's start with Dave in Illinois. Dave, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, hey, how you doing, man?
Hi, Dave.
Good. Patrice.
Yeah, it is.
You think that I'm getting the vibe from you that.
It's the same vibe I'm getting from your voice, by the way.
All right, give him a shot.
I'm gonna give him a shot, but you can. I already smell it.
I'm not stacking the deck. We're going from top to bottom. Let's go, Dave.
Do your thing.
No. What I'm saying is that you believe that any white guy that voted for McCain and they were against Obama had some kind of racial undertone for doing so.
You know what, Dave?
You believe that?
Dave, let me ask you a question. Dave, let me ask you a question. I said in this room, I don't want to feel that way. But I do not think that was the case, and I really don't feel that was the case. But for the most part, I'm generalizing you, Dave. I am grouping you in with all of you.
That's not fair.
Oh, is it not, Mr. White Man? Do you hear yourself?
You know what?
Do you hear white people?
All right.
Do you hear fairness?
But that's
it's not fair.
It's not
easily 9 out. But
fair.
Patrice, easily 9 out of 10 guys would say exactly what Dave just said. Easily.
Yeah.
Because we don't.
His name is Dave. He's not
Fair.
Uncle Sam. He's Dave. He's just a guy from Illinois.
9 out of 10
Do
would
you
say
get
that.
what I'm saying?
So-
How dare fairness be a part of white people's speech?
So what's not fair as far as you're concerned, Patrice? Because when you say the same statement when it comes to stuff.
Here's the what I mean about it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that my generalizing of white people is not fair.
He's right.
But
it's not fair.
That's what I'm. But like, here's the thing, and I've always said this on the news, and it's a gameplay. It's hilarious to me. Is that when they go, oh, 3 black men robbed a Walmart and shot and raped everybody.
They
and
rarely say black man.
But when a black guy does something, it is held over all of our heads. Even though it may not count against, but the country makes it feel like all black, we got to defend ourselves. But when let's say Gary, the Green River Killer, you probably know his name, Norton. I forgot his name, but the Green River Killer in Seattle killed 50 hookers.
Right.
Ultimately, one guy killing 50 people of the same thing. We should be looking at that person as, oh boy, it's more likely that this is, or John Wayne Gacy. If I'm a young white dude, I should be looking at any chubby white guy and go, he might choke me and put me in a cubbyhole in his house. But
so why don't
one black dude,
why don't you?
This is what I'm saying. It's all one black dude does something. It's we all have to go to the defense. I'm tired of defending black criminals. I don't want to. But it's ultimately it comes out to be a racial charge with white people. They can't just make it not racial.
But don't forget.
Why should we not?
Hold on. Give us a little serial killer example. Don't forget John Muhammad and the other guy, the snipers.
The snipers.
Most people are not looking at black people like potential snipers.
Not
when
at
it comes,
all. Not at all.
Or
It's still not. You know why? Because that's not really.
Timothy Spencer's another is a serial killer, black serial killer. He raped and killed white women.
What about that bad boy in Atlanta?
No, what I'm saying is serial killers are a weird one, man. Like when you look at someone who's doing such an anomaly, a guy that rapes and commits a murder is connectable to people, but a serial killer.
How about mass office killers?
Okay, that's a better example.
I should be looking at most white dudes. I should be looking at what you do mentally to E-Rock. I should always come in here and be like, oh boy, E-Rock could snap today and shoot us all. I could feel that way.
That whole thing, by the way, is turning around. He's becoming one of ours. One of us, finally. One of ours, please. One of us.
I'm saying the anger, when he said it's not fair, this is what I mean, the detachment, the arrogance of white people for him to say to me, because I grouped you in and generalized you, it ain't fair.
But I don't
Are
think
you out your skull?
I think you're misinterpreting that as arrogance, man. I don't think he's being arrogant. I think he really is looking at it
It's not malicious. That's what, when I cut you off before, when you said something and you said, let me finish, I didn't get to the, it's because there's a maliciousness that I don't, one thing I'm going to say, not all white people are maliciously racial.
But that might not, but just because.
It's a condition.
But you can't just say that because he's not being malicious, he's still arrogant. He might not be arrogant. He might not be malicious or arrogant.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not separating, you're not breaking it down enough. You're saying that whenever a white guy feels something isn't fair according to race,
right,
or says, hey, that's not kind of cool, he's being arrogant.
I wish I could look at white guys' plight and go, the plight of the white man.
Not even a plight, though, but just a guy going, hey, man, that's not fair that you think that way.
Look at racially, the tipping of the scales racially is not based on black people's relationship with white people. It's based on white people's relationship with white people. It's a civil war between N-word lovers and racists. Like, it's the right and the left, and white people are always discussing how we feel. That's what I'm saying. We, in this country, we're like dogs to this country. We don't have our own feelings. We don't know how to feel. We don't know how to rationalize. We're just crazy. Calm down, paranoid, crazy black man. Let us figure out your problems. That's what I'm saying. It's not malicious. It's just what white people are. Arrogant. They don't want to hear it no more. That's all it is. I'm telling you, being from where I'm from, what I know is covert, non-aggressive racism. The racism you cannot prove. And that's what we living with now. That's why I'm saying all of this is nonsense to me, because I don't feel anybody change. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so where does the line go between racism you can't prove and covert racism, institutionalized racism, which I agree with you, it exists.
I don't. It's like everybody feels Bill O'Reilly's a racist. But can you prove it?
But where does that line end, and the line where it's like, I'm black and I'm misreading this. Almost like there is a line where you're black and you're misreading something.
Okay, give me an example of you think that black people just misread something about how white people feel.
That booing right there was a great example of misreading the. If had I not seen that in every single concession speech, I would have thought, my God, they're booing this like that was.
And that comes from education, and I wasn't educated on that issue. I took it as how I felt at the time, and watching McCain, and what I said, it had a lot to do with McCain. The way he said, the way he looked, it looked like he was like, don't do this. It didn't look phony like this is what he's supposed to do. It looked like a disappointed man in that reaction to the people that represent him, because it just wasn't right.
I think when he saw them booing, it was almost like, nah, don't do the typical thing now. Not don't boo like that was the typical thing.
Yes,
to boo.
Don't do that now.
Don't do what we always do.
I think he was
not now. This is a bigger thing.
I think he was playing his role in that whole thing. I think he appreciated that people were booing.
No, I
think because McCain still believed all the way to the end that he was the better guy.
I think he's too genuine.
So when you got your supporters going boo, I think you're up there going, oh, that's kind of cool.
I felt that guy on his concession speech.
I did too.
Dude. I felt that dude. And
it just
felt like
when he finally got to really say what he wanted to say, it was a great speech.
I really
got to go to the phones. These guys are killing the talk. Let's go to Eric in Cleveland. Eric.
First off, I got to tell you, I'm black. I didn't vote for Obama. I felt that Obama was bad for the country. And I got to tell you, Patrice, I'm ashamed of you even being black with me, simply due to the fact that I am listening to you and this garbage that you're spewing out. We're Americans first. We're Americans first. I understand that people have gone through a lot of hardship and a lot of agony to get to where we're at, but everybody has. Chinese, Irish, Italian, black. We all have gone through something. Our job is basically to get there and do what we're supposed to do.
Can I tell you something? I'm going to tell you something right now. White people think you're hilarious. White people are like, who is this goofy guy? Your white wife and your white friends. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you. I will tell you this. You said you're ashamed that I'm black. You're ashamed of how I feel. You're ashamed of how I feel is what you're saying. What you're saying is you're ashamed. As a matter of fact, you insulted me to get your point across, and I'm telling you, I'm sharing my feelings with you, and you haven't even shared a feeling. Do you feel like this country's racial? Do you feel like this country's racial? You're one of these black people. Let me tell you who you are. You're a black person. You're a black person who doesn't eat watermelon in front of white people. That's who you are.
Let him answer. That's a good question.
First off, you are right. I don't like watermelon.
Exactly. You don't like nothing that makes you think that you're the black way that white people present you.
Are hypocritical. Hypocrites.
Who's hypocrites?
If Obama was a black Republican, he would have never got in.
That's an absolute lie. Colin Powell would have been the president. Matter of fact, when I heard, I'm going to tell you something. Colin Powell sound more presidential supporting Obama than Obama did.
Like an idiot. He sounded like an idiot because all he could say was that Obama was black, and that's why I support him, not on his ideas, not on his concepts. And so we decide that this country is far more important than our whole race aspect.
I love this country. I love this country.
I want that guy to, Patrice asked a good question. Patrice, you asked this guy a good question. I didn't hear his answer about what do you think is racial about the country. I would like to hear his response, because I didn't hear that. What was the question you asked him? It was something about what...
Yeah, do you think this country is racial?
Of course it's racial.
So that means you sound like you've made it despite the racism in this country, correct?
Like every other race.
Like every other race. As including myself, that I make it despite how this country treats us. I'm not saying that this is an excuse. This country treats us like garbage, dude. And for you to say it doesn't, does this country treat black people like garbage?
Everybody like garbage.
Really? What white person got treated like garbage historically?
But that's where I'm at with this guy. We all get treated like garbage.
Historically.
Hold on, let him answer. I want to hear what let him answer.
Everybody's being treated like garbage, and I'll tell you how.
I agree with that, man.
You see it in the line, people standing in for food stamps, and you know what? Those who make it. Those who don't. That's the American way.
Dude, you're allowed to feel like that, but I'm gonna tell you, you've never had an experience. You've never had an experience to have you realize that.
That's where you are so wrong.
Wait, how is he wrong? How is he wrong?
How am I wrong?
How is he wrong?
I am your. I'm your age.
What happened to you to feel this way?
I have experienced racism to the utmost. But
what have you experienced?
Make a difference.
What
do you?
Do you understand how you're sounding? You're not being honest, man. You're saying the goofy. You're talking for white people.
But you have no stand against a black man who has equal intelligence to you, who's experienced what you've experienced.
I asked you a question. What did you experience?
What?
And
I understand that everybody...
Eric, answer the question.
What have you experienced?
Answer the question, man.
Answer the question. Yeah. Good. I started high school my elementary school to my junior high school years were all in an all-black school. My parents moved to an all-white neighborhood. I was the third family in an all-white neighborhood in the late 70s, early 80s. I experienced racism. The N-word was used every time that I went around. I did everything in my power to compete with them on their level, on intellect, on the levels of athleticism.
Same thing as me.
And guess what?
Same thing. Right now we're not different, but go ahead.
Yeah, how were you able to move on from all that? Because Patrice can't move on to move on from any of that.
Do you think that this is? Can I ask a question? Hold up, Eric. Excuse my interruption. This is a white guy on the outside. This to me sounds. Are you think this is a black guy who is not in touch with his anger or rage at what? I mean,
of course not. And I don't even use the word sell out this and sell out that. But this guy's been called that, and here's the thing, I relate to this guy on a level where I understand being an intelligent black man, you get a moniker of being a sellout. But you don't like black people.
Wrong. I love black people.
All right, we can continue.
But you know what? I've also learned to love other people, too.
Me too.
Because of that, I'm able to see the world as a complete whole and not as an individual. And that's why I don't think bother with it.
White people don't even follow you, man.
Well, sure.
All right.
That was interesting to hear, though.
Yeah, Patrice, just let it go.
Yeah, okay.
Let it go.
Obama got to let it move on.
I really want to just
you got to let
get
it go.
over it, man.
For your own health. You got, just high blood pressure.
I'm very over it.
Disease,
I'm over it despite the situation. That's all I'm saying.
Just let it all go.
Spewing garbage. Shut up.
We need you to just
shut up with your white friends around clapping you. Yay, you dumbass.
I'm getting you a meditation class for.
See, that's why we like Byron. You're an idiot.
You have to.
You know how many white friends I got? You jackass.
Very few.
Well, you know how many white people I claim to have? You know how many white friends I think I have?
You know how many white comics will do a gig with you to split the driving cost?
We should do a secret ballot. You should write down all the white friends you have, and then we'll go to those people and see if they're actually friends.
I don't even want to know. I know when it comes down to it, they'll run for their lives. But there's a few.
I wanted to be your friend, but you don't invite me to your damn barbecues. And you go, you wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So you don't give me the invite. So
what are you going to do? I'll invite you next time.
Oh, well, boy, thanks for throwing me a bone.
Hey, there you go. Black president.
Whatever. Oh, now it's okay to have
we got to start somewhere. I'm going to start with inviting you to a barbecue. I'm moving on.
All right.
I'm moving on like my friend from wherever he is with all his white friends.
Eric from
and
Cleveland.
He think he's loved.
Well, we did good there. We took 2 phone calls. We have 20 on hold easily. Opie and Anthony.
Listen, I promise I'll shut up.
Where you plugging anything?
I'm at Comics December 26th, 27th.
Oh, Christmas. Jeez,
that's a great weekend. I mean, especially if you're gearing up for Atlantic City the month after. What? Patrice and I together.
A month. All right.
Ain't about me. It's about us.
Yeah. All right.
It ain't fair.
All right. More phones right after the break. I'm just mad today. Opie and Anthony. I'm mad because we couldn't talk movies with Patrice, video games, sports. This was all encompassing today.
I have a question.
But good radio.
I have a question
yes,
for Patrice, too, as a black man. When do you know, Dr. King was always a hero of mine growing up, Martin Luther King. When is his birthday?
Yeah. Birthday.
Yeah. It is in, it's in January.
Yeah. January what?
January 20th.
No.
Nope.
And what do you do to celebrate his birthday?
Yeah, what do you do?
I beat white people.
Well,
I hose them.
You know what I do to celebrate? I always do this. I perform in Atlantic City. It's January 15th is the great doctor's birthday, but the 16th, 17th, I perform at the Borgata. That's how I celebrate Batman's birthday.
I gotta tell you got me too, man. You got me too. Wow.
Thanks, Kenny came in and told me it's Martin Luther King weekend.
Wow.
All right, thank you, somebody.
Oh, your acting was really good there too. Anthony not here today. fair to say Anthony will have a few things to say tomorrow. You might want to wake up early tomorrow.
I won't listen. I'll just let it happen, and then the day we're in together, we'll hug.
I know you guys will be here together December 1st.
Okay.
So that's going to be a big day.
I'll talk
a fight to end all fights.
I bet you it's not as big a fight as you think. And I hope not. I'll have to be the codependent one.
Because we've had these conversations before. It's not a big deal. It's just now with great racism comes great responsibility. He has too many of these crazy crackers saying things like uppity. And anytime, white lady, you're in the mall at Ross Clothing buying your crappy belt and your nasty plastic shoes, and you bump into a black woman in the same store, she's not being uppity. She's the same broke idiot as you. So please stop thinking you're better because you're white. You're not.
Let's say hi to Sean from Brooklyn because of the discussion. He's a black guy. Just so people know what's going on here. Sean, what do you got?
What's going on, guys, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hi, Sean.
And what's up with the other dude over there? Let me tell you something. I'm a black dude. I'm a real black dude. Yeah. I live in East New York. I don't live in Hollywood. I'm not a comic. I work 60 hours a week. For dude to get on there, Patrice I'm talking about, and to say that Obama is not black, he's half African and half white.
Yep.
I got news for you, dude. Check this out. Every black man in America is half African and half white. Where they get the slaves from?
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Where they get the slaves from?
You're talking. Here's the thing you're doing right now. You're being emotional. You didn't hear what I said.
No, I heard exactly what you said.
That he's black in this country because of what?
Because of his skin.
Exactly. That's my point I made. Am I lying?
You're not lying.
So what are you upset about?
That he's not a black man.
No. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing I can hear from you. See, the thing is, by what you're saying, by how you qualified yourself by saying you're a real black dude, right? This is our problem. We qualify ourselves as real black, real this, real that, by our experience and keeping it real and this. Your voice is not the same as the other dude, and your voice is not the same as mine. Dude, you from East New York. I hear it. You probably don't play games and the whole thing. You're not a comic. And really what you was doing in an emotional way is you was insulting me. Yo, I'm not Hollywood. I'm not a comic. You dismiss me. This is our problem, is that we can't be different. We can't be different and be the same. What I'm saying is, when I say he's not black, okay, I mean he is not, it's not a generational thing that's deep in him, because we've been locked up in this country since 1619. Let me tell you, Africans don't give him to us. Africa thinks that he's theirs. They said that they export presidents to this country. They disrespect black people. They don't look at us like that. I'm telling you.
Patrice, when I said a real black man, I mean a real N-word, okay?
Right.
I don't know if I can say it over the radio. Hold on a second. When I say that, I mean that, bruh, I work 60 hours a week. You hear what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I work 60 hours a week. I work on the weekend doing a little bouncing job at a little Mexican club. I got my granddaughter because my son is on the street right now talking about he's on the grind so he can get $600 Prada shoes. I'm the same age as you. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm here.
So my perspective is going to be different than yours. Just because you got money, I don't think there's a difference.
I don't got no money, dude. I don't have. See, wait, no. I can't wait a second, because you think something of me that ain't true. I don't have no money like that.
You missing the whole point.
All right, what is your point?
I'm coming from emotional. What I'm saying is, you can get on there and you can talk ha funny jokes and that.
Did you feel like I was being ha funny? See, this is what's going on. I'm gonna tell you what's going on right now, and it's our problem. This is our problem. What's going on?
Oh, you gonna let me say what I got?
Oh, I'm sorry. But I'm saying, how do you throw in, you're insulting me, right? But then you want to keep going. I can't retort. I can't get in there. You dismissed me 4 times already. I don't have the money you think I do. Let me tell you how easy my life would be if I smiled and shucked and jived and felt and didn't tell people how I feel.
Or we're just nice.
You understand? That's what it is, dude. I'm telling you, all of this keeping it, all of this thing where, yo, I'm a real N-word and all that. What does that mean? This is what I'm saying, dude. Everybody, we're all qualifying what black is.
When you ask the other dude from Cleveland, what racism have you experienced, and what makes you different from somebody else? Like I said.
Oh, so okay, what is the point? So what you're saying is I'm crazy for thinking that this country's racist?
I fit the profile, so don't ask me about what kind of
So what is your beef with me?
I don't think he was. Hold on. I don't think Patrice. I don't think that guy was dismissing you. I think he was just like saying, "I'm not these other things that you've mentioned before you."
Fair enough. But what is your beef with me? What am I saying that ain't right to you?
My beef with you is for you to say that Obama is not a black man, that he's an African.
Yes.
African and half white. Bruh,
but you got to understand my point. What's his name?
Brought over here and
Troy?
Sean.
Hey,
and therefore, that's where you come in.
No, Sean. No, listen to me, Sean. Let me try to say what I meant by that.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is, and I could have said it wrong, that the country is so racial and so racist that anybody black will be black by their color, not their experience. It's just the fact that black people are black because of our skin and white people are white because of their skin. I'm saying that not that he ain't no real brother. I'm saying the dude is first generation African. He's not you. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying that he's black because that's how racial the country is that they qualify us just by skin. That's my point.
Okay, all right. So I'm sorry for dissing you 4 times, but let me say one thing to you. If you've seen Obama, and you don't know he's Obama from a hole in the wall.
Right.
And you just happen to see him on the street. You couldn't look at him and say, he's first generation African.
He's black, exactly. Right. There you go, because of his color, exactly.
But you don't see white people as Irish. You can through ethnicity tell.
I don't see anybody as anything. I just see him as a dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a real N-word, but I work with white people.
Because you have white friends.
I work with everybody.
But we're not talking about your friends, Sean. We're talking about the country. I have white friends. There's white people I truly love as people, and they're my friends. And you probably have white guys because you work so hard that, dude, you have a beer with them, you probably fought with them, and you love them. But we're talking about the country, man. You feel how you feel because of the country.
Right. But see, what you have to understand is, in order for us to be able, and Anthony was asking about a solution, and I'm going to give you the solution. In order for us to be able to move on to the next level where race relations and racism and racistness, whatever buzzwords everybody want to put on it, is going to get better, and I'm saying we now because I'm including you now, I'm embracing you. Okay, first I had to spank you, now I'm going to embrace you.
You think you spanked me? Are you out your mind? What is this, a rap battle song? You spanked me?
Yeah, Jimmy and I felt it. Absolutely.
Now, Sean, you knocked him around a little bit, now make him feel better.
That's right. We all felt it.
I love when they infight.
We as black people, you're stupid. We as black people first have to
got Lesnar talking to Couture right
now. We have to embrace each other. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, Sean.
We have to be able to get past the barriers of just because you got a little bit of chips and I ain't got no chips.
Yep, exactly.
You funny, ha-ha, or whatever.
Yep.
Again, with the you got chips.
He's right.
What is it talking? Do you see where it's going? This is why we can't
Couldn't
win.
agree more, Sean.
That's right,
That's
Sean.
what he's got. Patrice has some chips.
Yep.
And he is slightly uppity, but I like the fact that Sean smacked him around.
Yeah.
Patrice comment? Patrice comment?
On what?
On what Sean said?
I already commented.